Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today, Coach Prime spars with the media. What are we talking about? Well, Friday, Deion Sanders had a press conference and had more than one weird confrontation with the media. There was a CBS reporter that he refused to listen to a question from solely because they were affiliated with CBS. We'll get to more of that later. And then he also refused to, he kind of mocked the a word that a reporter was using in a question referring to his offensive line. And I'll just go ahead and show you guys this clip from a local TV host or newscaster in the Colorado area that basically slams Coach Prime in this clip. There's parts of this I agree with. There's parts of it I don't necessarily agree with. So we'll go ahead, play this clip, then we'll come back, and then we'll discuss this clip, the press conference, and everything Coach Prime.
Hi, everybody. I'm Scotty Gange. Deion Sanders welcomed everybody back to football season today with a wild press conference. So let's talk about it.
When I talk about that, we talk about that, we can talk about that.
He called out some local sports writers today.
Why do you always on attack? Like, what did we do?
Where am I? What?
And the head coach of the Colorado Buffs also had no time for TV stations either.
CBS Sports Colorado.
CBS.
Tyler,
I'm all right. I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question.
I'm here in Denver, not Nashville.
You are who you are. CBS is CBS.
Okay, I get it. It's one thing, right? When you have an issue with a person or an outlet like he obviously does, like how CBS recently ranked Sanders as the second worst coach in the Big 12. So what? But he proceeded to bully people, asking honest questions all afternoon.
You've bolstered your offensive line here in this second season.
What does bolstered mean?
All right, you beefed up your offensive line in the south season.
Beefed up.
How do you sort of microwave
Improved?
that chemistry?
Improved. How about improved? Let's say that. We've improved our offensive line.
The chemistry is such an important thing.
What is chemistry?
Deion has brought CU national attention. He served as an inspiring voice for many. But he's coming off just like he's trying to intimidate and push around anybody who dares to ask him a question. Now, that's not how a sports person of the year or anybody should be acting.
Throw the word chemistry out or not. Everybody keep throwing that word out. Some of you don't even have chemistry at home, but you go there every day. That's the end of that question, I guess.
Okay, so the one thing in there, and I understand I'm in the minority of this, where I disagree a little bit with that newscaster, and this is a lot of people's criticism of Coach Prime, where they're like, hey, you have to have better decorum with the media. You have to treat the media differently. You can't have this adversarial relationship to the media. I don't necessarily care how he treats the media. And if you want to give short answers to people that you don't necessarily like, or you kind of want to, hold grudges on people that might say negative things or have differing opinions about how you're running your program, that's fair game. I think that's fair. But I do think you should answer questions, even if you don't necessarily like that. And if an outlet, ranked you 15th or whatever on the head coaching thing, which we will get to here in a little bit. But I don't necessarily care about that stuff because if you win, people really don't care about that stuff as much anymore. People aren't going to write negative things about you. And if Colorado wins 7, 8, 9 games this year, a lot of those criticisms are going to go away. Now, the people are always going to hate Coach Prime, yada, 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 yada. Okay, you can say that about every single program. I'm at Iowa State right now. Matt Campbell is the best coach in program history. He just coming off of his best coaching season in his entire career, and there's still people that are having naysayers about him. So you're always going to have people, you're always going to have haters, but those voices will turn a lot less. That stuff will be a lot more muted. If Colorado goes out and wins 8, 9 games this year, all the criticisms I have of the program are going to be, I'm wrong. I'll be proven wrong. But with that being said, though, and talking about the coaching rankings and talking about Coach Prime and him not liking people that are saying negative things about him and his coaching job, we have to make up our minds about last season in 2023 because on its surface, it looks like a success. 2022, the Colorado Buffaloes, you guys know the story. They win 1 game. The program looks absolutely dead, if not in rigor mortis. There is nothing to be excited about that program. It's probably one of the most boring programs in all of college football. Coach Prime comes in 2023 with the help of elite transfer talent and guys that are probably going to be playing in the NFL a year from now in his son, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Colorado makes a 3-win improvement, wins 4 games, struggles down the stretch of last season. but, they get above their expected win total. And you're looking at that on surface like, hey, Colorado moving in the right direction. 4 wins when we were thinking you guys were going to win 2 or 3. That's a step in the right direction. That's a success. My issues with Colorado, and I think this is a lot of people's issues with Colorado, is what has happened after the season. Because how Coach Prime has been running the program and building the program since the end of last season, or even towards the end of last season, doesn't look like he thinks that last year was a success. Why do I say that? What do you mean? What do you mean Coach Prime doesn't think last year was a success? Well, if last year was this big success, winning 4 games, then why do you fire 90% of your coaching staff? Why do you have 2 new coordinators? Successful seasons, teams that have successful seasons, whatever your bar is for it, they don't usually, purge their coaching staff. There's only, if you look at Colorado's coaching staff from last year or this year, there's only 3 people that are on the staff a year ago at this point that are still on the staff now. So if last year, if Coach Prime did such a great coaching job, he clearly doesn't think so because he got rid of most of his staff. Okay, if he did such a good job bringing in talent in the transfer portal last year, why did they bring in 40 new transfers this year? Plus 10 new high school people. So that's my criticism of Coach Prime, and I think it's a lot of people's criticism, is you're rotating in a whole new coaching staff. I think that you have a downgrade going from Sean Lewis to Pat Shurmur, because what was the criticism of the Colorado offense last year? Shedeur didn't have time to throw. So your solution is to bring in Pat Shurmur. Okay, cool, you improve the offensive line, but Pat Shurmur's offense is going to have the quarterback hold on to the ball longer. That doesn't make that much sense, does it? So even if you like some of the coaching moves that did, even if you like some of the transfer portal moves that Colorado did, which they did bring in some more talent again, you have to admit 90% new coaching staff, 50 new players on the roster that haven't been there for more than 9 months. A lot of those guys, if you're talking about the spring transfer portal window, haven't been there for less than 6 months. Seems a bit chaotic. And I might be underselling it by saying that. So let's get to those head coaching rankings, because coincidentally, we did a head coaching rankings for the Big 12 on the show last Tuesday, and I think we published it Thursday. You can go ahead and watch that if you want to. And we did ours, I think, a little bit differently than the CBS poll did. So we did ours as part projection, part resume, and, part what do we think you're going to do this season, and then also our eye test opinion stuff. And I did it with my friend Richie Bradshaw, who hosts a Locked On Arizona State podcast, covers Arizona State football daily, when it goes to Big 12 media events and stuff like that, previously Pac-12 media events. And we did a draft for it. And I ended up selecting Coach Prime 12. The reason I did that is because I think if he wants to, which he doesn't necessarily show much interest in doing this, but if he wants to, he could have perennially top 10 high school recruiting classes at Colorado. I genuinely think he could do that. I think he is the anomaly in the sport, that if he wants to have a top 10 recruiting class, he can have it at any Power 4 school, even if it's in Boulder, Colorado. I think he could really do that. And if he wants to, he could build, gets the right coaching staff in, goes really hard in high school recruiting, could build a really, really solid, tough program that could perennially compete in the Big 12. But it doesn't necessarily, at least at this point of him being at Colorado, him showing much interest in doing that. So let's get to the CBS coaching poll, because they ranked him 15th. And you look at that on its surface and you say, oh my God, how disrespectful to Coach Prime. That is incredibly harsh. That is, what the heck is CBS doing? How dare they do that? Well, if you look at the poll, and you look at the guys that are ahead of Coach Prime, and you look at kind of how they did it, I think they did it maybe 75% on resume. So if you're looking at the resumes of all of these coaches, you're looking at, could Coach Prime be ahead of Dave Aranda, who's at 12th on this list, who won the Big 12 championship 3 years ago at Baylor? Should he be ahead of Kalani Sitake, who had back-to-back double-digit win seasons at BYU? Should he be ahead of Scott Satterfield, who in a 4-year stretch at App State, his worst season was 9 wins? A little bit rough times at Louisville, but that program was still kind of bowling and bowling contention for most of the part of his time there. And it looks like he has that program, if you're looking at some of the preseason stuff, heading in the right direction. So should he be ahead of any of those guys? For a 4-win season at Colorado, cool, you beat Nebraska in year 1 under Matt Rule. So for him to get mad at and again, that's what I've read online. That's what a lot of people have been saying. That he was mad specifically at that poll. That's what that newscast said. So for him to be mad at that poll, if they were to rank him, let's say 12th, it would be disrespectful to the other guys that they ranked him ahead of. Now, it's a fluid list. If they do win 8 games this year, I'm sure he won't be 15th again. He'll move up a few spots. But again, by his own judgment, he did a bad job last year, because who brought in all of those guys in the transfer portal? Who brought in all of those coaches that you ended up firing? Oh, Coach Prime did. So, it's being a little bit hypocritical of getting mad at people criticizing your head coaching job and what you're doing there when you are kind of mad, when you don't necessarily, by your own actions, aren't necessarily that satisfied. Which again, he's doing that stuff because he has a high standard and he wants to compete for the college football playoff. I do think doing that year 1 when you're pumping in a whole new coaching staff, a whole new roster off of a 1-win team is a lot. But again, I'm of the opinion of Colorado this year that I think they can go bowling. I think if they go bowling, it's a successful season, but we'll see. I don't think it's going to be an abject disaster, and I don't think they're going to win like 2 games, and I don't think they're going to win 10. I think they'll win like around 5 or 6. So that's my prediction about Colorado. And again, I know a lot of Colorado Coach Prime fans watching this probably aren't that happy with me right now. Here's the beauty of football. Here's the beauty about sports. We get to find out. And we're just a few weeks away from the college football season. So we get to find out. We get to find out if this coaching strategy that he's doing, all the coaching moves that he did, bringing new guys in, all of this transfer portal talent, some of this top-end high school talent, we'll see if it works. So just a few weeks away from the college football season. I'm very excited for that. If that's going to do it for this episode here today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. That is the best way to help this channel grow, and it costs you absolutely $0. And I'll very much love it if you do that. So feel free to that coaching rankings that we did. You can go ahead and click that in video link. If it hasn't popped up by now, it should be popping up here in a few seconds. Go ahead and watch me and Richie rank the Big 12 head coaches 1 through 16. You're probably going to learn a few things if you don't know that much about the Big 12. Maybe your team is entering the Big 12. Maybe just want to learn more about the programs and stuff like that. You might learn a few things. So there you have it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you next time.